2, 3, 4.
I'm Sheila.
And I'm Paige.
And welcome to Kids in the Kitchen.
Today we have a new guest host, Paige. And we're going to have Paige tell us a little bit about herself. How old are you, Paige?
I'm 12.
Excellent. And where are you from?
Waldorf.
Okay. Paige is involved in a number of activities, and we asked her to share some of them with us today.
I like to dance and I like to cook.
Okay.
We hear you are a food junkie like us.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Well, let's get started, shall we?
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, today our theme for the show is comfort foods, and comfort foods, like so many of the foods, just really excite us here at Kids in the Kitchen. Comfort foods are traditionally foods that are inexpensive, easy to prepare, and contain a lot of carbohydrates and starch. Now, some American classic comfort foods are things like macaroni and cheese, meatloaf, which we'll be making today, apple pie, and my favorite, chocolate chip cookies. But the thing that's really cool about comfort foods is comfort foods are global. You know, every culture has comfort foods. In Japan, miso soup is a comfort food. In India, roti is a comfort food.
I believe that. Yeah.
And in the Philippines, dirty ice cream is a comfort food.
Okay, let's say ice cream.
It's ice cream with like little pieces of topping and stuff on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, Micah, let's get started.
Well, today what we're going to start with is our apple crisp because it takes about 55 minutes to cook. And we're using a number of different apples. We have Granny Smith apples pre-cut. And they're soaking right now in water with a little bit of lemon juice so they won't get brown. So we're going to start off by showing you how to core the apples. A very easy way. We have apple cores. And Sheila and Paige are going to kind of walk us through today how to use the apple cores to go ahead and core the apples.
Okay, well, as you can see, these apples have already been peeled. It's also soaking in water, and Paige and I are just essentially going to put it in the center of our cutting board. We're going to use an apple core. You can find it in pretty much any store. They're about $10. We're going to put the circle right in the center, right where our core is. And we're just going to simply push down.
Yay!
Very good. There you go, Paige.
Okay.
And you might want to shake it a little bit at the end just to get it to come off.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
So, as you can see, the size of these apples are a little bit large. They're great if you wanted to have a snack, but not so good if you want to make an apple crisp like we are today. So what we've done we've cut each slice in roughly about 3 slices, but this slice is so big I might cut this in 4. And the reason you want to cut your slices is that it'll cut down on the cooking time of your actual crisp. So while Sheila does us a favor, and there you go.
I'm going to drain these apples.
Excellent. Paige is going to learn today how to use a pastry blender. So our topping, and you can use anything for a topping, you're always going to have some type of sugar. We're using brown sugar. We'll put that in there. And then some flour. Now I'm making this similar to the way my mommy made, and so I'm putting some oats in there. And then we have nutmeg and cinnamon. And then last, we have about 8 tablespoons of butter. Excellent.
Butter. Butter makes everything taste better, I do think.
Yeah, it definitely does. We'll get the fingers. Okay, so now if you don't have a pastry blender, you can always use 2 knives. It'll take a little bit longer. Or you can use your hand. So I generally start off with the pastry blender and then switch to my hands because I get impatient. So you just use this and kind of really mash the ingredients together. You see, you'll have to, now the butter is chilled. Paige is going to continue. And let me do this real quick for you. the butter is chilled, and you want it to be chilled and you don't want it to be soft because you want it to form little crumbles about the size of maybe peas or bigger or smaller, so that you have kind of a crunch on your apple crisp. And one of the things Sheila and I were trying to figure out is what's the difference between a crisp, a crumble, and a brown Betty, right? So an apple crisp traditionally, go ahead, you got it. An apple crisp traditionally is going to have some type of butter and sugar on the top. A crumble is the British word for crisp or crunch. So a crunch has a layer of your topping on the bottom and a layer of your topping on top of the fruit. And then you also have a brown Betty. And a brown Betty uses breadcrumbs. So there you have it. Yes. We're looking pretty good on this. Looking really good on this. Do you mind if you want to put those in there?
Now, Micah, have we already shared that today we're using Granny Smith apples and why we picked Granny Smith apples?
We picked Granny Smith apples because Sheila and I like the tartness of the apples. You could use a number of different apples. You want an apple that's a good baking apple. Remember, apples will cook down, so you can fill this up as much really as you want. Sometimes people like a mixture of sweet apples and tart apples. You can stop. I can see you're getting tired. And so you could do, like, we have a gala over here that we were pouring. So you could use the gala to add some complexity, a little bit of texture. The galas will hold their shape, and the Golden Delicious are really great for baking. They hold their shape really well. They don't get mushy. You don't want to use the Granny Smith so much for a pie because sometimes when they cool and cook down, there'll be a little bit of water with them. But Sheila and I like the flavor, and so that's why we're using them. And I'm just going to finish this real quick. Now, while I'm doing that, actually, before I do that, let's sprinkle some of our sugar. I have about 4 tablespoons of white sugar here, and I'm adding it because, like I said, these apples are a little bit tart, and so we want to
Sweeten it up a little bit.
exactly. See, you're on your way. Now, always with cooking, I committed suicide, you have to use your judgment. So, for instance, the recipe I called for said 2 to 4 tablespoons. I'm a sweet girl, so I'm using 4 tablespoons. You may not like your apple crisp so sweet, and so you may want to use less. So we're going to use our hands to finish this up, kind of break the butter.
Because it's still in chunks a little bit.
Exactly. And then we'll kind of sprinkle it on there like a streusel topping. Feels good? Okay. Let's take a look. I think it's almost done. So this is your first time making apple crisp?
Yes.
Okay. You ever made apple pie?
Like I helped my grandma glaze the apples before.
Okay.
But I never really mixed all the ingredients like this.
Okay, so we're going to just sprinkle this on like a streusel topping. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Okay. And we're using a nice kind of deep dish. I like to have a lot of topping on mine. And then we're just going to slowly spread it around so that we have topping all over the place. And that's it. One of the reasons why we chose this dish is that you often have apples in your house. We're using ingredients that most people have in their house already, which is some apples, brown sugar, and oats. So we're almost done. We're going to finish up our apple crisp, and when we come back, we have more comfort food for you. Looking good.
Do we want to put all of it in there?
Yes, we do. Want to finish it up?
Yep.
Okay. And we'll wash our hands after.